Oh, yeah. You know what time it is again. It's Staircase to Nowhere. Doing your favorite intro segment once again. It's How Do You Do? How do you do? How do you do? Wait. Why did it stop?
Because it's only 25 seconds long. It's not a...
No, you need to play it again. We didn't even get to sing the How Do You Do part.
You did. Okay. Do you want me to play it again?
Play it again.
Bring it back.
Yeah. We need everybody singing this time.
How do you do?
You want us to...
How do you
It's
do?
your song, bro.
How do you
It's not our
do?
thing. They can't see you dancing.
This is bad. I'm gonna close the app now. I'm done. Bye, guys. I'm out.
Yeah, I'm really glad we brought that back again for a second jingle.
It was nice to be on this podcast, but this is my last episode.
I don't know what that did to my internet, but like everyone just started freezing as that was playing, and I didn't realize that Noah was doing all the voiceovers. I thought it was pre-recorded. And then I realized, oh, this is like live. He's like,
No, this is like
right now.
Dude,
This is all live.
I'm so glad you think we pre-record things and don't just like we just rip in it. Yeah,
Noah's got a great voice
Yeah.
for this. Like I just was bought in. I was like, wow, it's like perfect. It's awesome. High production.
Oh yeah.
This is high production. It's Staircase to Nowhere, your ministry culture podcast. We want to introduce ourselves, your regular hosts. I'm Noah, a seminary student here in Atlanta, Georgia, here with my buddies.
I'm Sam. I'm a director of community and street outreach in Louisville, Kentucky. And then the next.
Oh, that's all you have to say?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's all I got to say.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You left
My name's
it,
David.
like hanging open.
Yeah, that was
I did.
a hanging sentence. My name's David. I work at Taylor University, and it's in Indiana, and that's all I'm going to say about myself.
Go Hoosiers.
But they don't necessarily
Yeah.
condone all the
Yeah,
opinions
there
of
it
this podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, don't fire me.
Yeah. Taylor University does not endorse the. It's like when ABC Family turns into the 700 Club, and it's like ABC Family does not
Wow.
endorse
Praise
the
the
things
Lord.
that are about to be said.
Praise the Lord.
Sorry. We need to
Wow.
introduce our guest. We have another gentleman
Yes.
on this call with us tonight.
We do have a fourth gentleman on the podcast. It's longtime listener, mailbag sender, Trey Calvin. We are so glad to have you, Trey. How are you, man?
Thank you.
Oh, whoa. Live studio audience.
The studio audience.
I'm speechless. I don't even. Wow.
Yeah.
Mama,
I just recently found the sound effects button, so I'm glad you're
There you go.
here for that now.
I mean,
Yeah.
the clapping's pretty good. Like, it doesn't sound like super 90s cheesy. Like, it actually sounds like people are clapping.
Well, that's because Sam recorded himself doing that. He had
Oh, yeah.
20 times over.
Spent hours layering my own claps. Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, Trey, you said that you've been listening to the show for a while. You met David at Asbury Seminary.
This
but this
also
is our
does
first
not
time-
reflect the views of Asbury Seminary.
Definitely.
This is the first time that you've met me and Sam. And so just kind of share with us, like, how are we not meeting your expectations? Like,
I don't know.
looking upon us.
Noah looks a lot cooler than he sounds. I don't mean that as a diss, but
Oh, no.
Yes. Oh, yes. I'm glad you're here.
but I'm in the same exact boat. Like I just kind of have a voice that doesn't really match my character. Like when I was in high school, people would look at me and be like, "Dude, I thought you were so intimidating," but then you started talking, and I was like, "Oh, never mind." Like, I'm a black dude with tattoos, and I used to have dreads. So like, people would like, if I was quiet, I kind of have an RBF sometimes, so people would just like look at me and be like, "Oh, like kind of intimidated."
Who's
Like,
this
even
guy?
with I went to
Yeah.
seminary, just a bunch of like, white dudes with beards, and like. So like,
Yeah.
typically I kind of stood out quite a bit, but like then I would start talking. People would be like, the guards would just lower. They'd be like, "Okay, you're cool." You're like,
Yeah.
like
They're like, "Oh,
was-
bro's a nerd."
yeah, I'm half black. So in high school, people called me an Oreo. They're like, "You're white on the inside, black on the
Oh.
outside."
That's awful.
Yeah,
Yeah, people are the
That was not
worst.
okay.
yeah. People are mean, so I didn't mean to deflect my childhood trauma on you. It's just like,
No, that's another
counts as
function of this
podcast
show,
today.
healing.
but that's what podcasts are like. Like you
Oh,
have
yeah.
an idea of what the hosts look like, and then you see them, and you're like, "Whoa!" Like they don't look anything like I imagined. Like it's just kind of.
Totally.
I mean, that's just the name of the game, honestly. But
What do you think
Sam,
about
I've
All right,
never-
now you have to
like who I thought?
Yeah, roast Sam now.
Hey,
He's wearing a Carhartt shirt or hat, so I don't know. There's something
I
there.
mean, Sam looks like he goes to the skate park on like in the afternoons after work and like shreds it up. He's got the Nike hoodie and like the
dude,
hat
the
and
fellow
headphones.
youths.
Like
I'll
when I was
take
in
this.
high school, he looks like the kind of guy that would show up like after his 9 to 5 to come skate, but he didn't really talk to the kids because he's not like immature. But I don't know. And David just
I
looks
love
like
that.
David Neal. So.
Yeah, I love. That's a great. I'll take that read all day over Noah's. Like, yeah, he sound. Or sorry,
cooler than he sounds.
He's cooler than he sounds.
Respectfully.
All due respect.
But I relate.
All due respect.
I didn't mean
I'm
to
about
roast
to
Noah. I'm
destroy your
sorry.
emotions.
I'm about to end your whole career. What career? What career?
Oh,
man.
that's so funny.
Dude, I met David because, well, first his wife Caitlin was my academic advisor, I think, or
Financial aid
advisor.
coordinator.
Yes, financial.
Yeah.
She was my financial aid coordinator, and then we moved, and they came and helped us unpack our house when we moved to merit housing on the seminary, and. Then he's like, "Oh, nice bikes. You want to fix bikes?" I was like, "I guess." Like
That's
it's
funny.
like, "Oh, I fix these bikes for the seminary international students, and they pay me a little bit. If you want to take it over," I was like, "Okay." And then let me tell you about playing Dungeons and Dragons with David Neal.
Whoa!
Oh, dang.
That dude is unpredictable. Like you just don't know what he's gonna do. Like I won't make it a long, drawn out story, but basically his character was like half orc, and then the bottom half was fire truck.
That's true.
And
Hans
there was
Gruber.
just
Huh.
Yeah, Hans, good old Hans. So there was a time where like we like went to this new like city in our campaign, and we walked out of this doorway of this like tavern or something, and like the DM was just like, "Okay, you walk out, you see some guards, but they're just walking the other way. They don't notice you guys. What do you do?" And David's like, "I throw an axe at them." He's like, "What?" He's like, "I'm throwing an axe at him." I'm like, the DM's like, "Okay, roll for that." And he rolls like a 19. And then like he's like, "Okay, you throw the axe at this guard, you just completely obliterate the back of his armor and kill him instantly." But now like people and villagers start screaming and because they're freaked out about what's going on, and suddenly like we go from like just walking out of a door to a full-on GTA level 5 like 5-star like situation. It was just like it was so fun. It just cracked me
What's
up.
crazy is that like describes hanging out with David in real life. It's
Yeah,
like-
That's exactly what he does.
yeah, we should like you're leaving a Barnes and Noble. And it's like, do you guys want to get ice cream? And David's like, we could throw something at these people. It's like, no.
Yeah, just imagine he can do it in real life. Like there's no real consequences, so he's just
Yeah.
like, "Oh,
Yeah.
this is what happens if I do this." Like,
Impulse control
I
has
love-
never been my strong suit.
yeah, it's all right. We love him.
That's good. Wow, I forgot about that one. Thanks for bringing that
I
back.
still think about that. It cracks me up.
Wow. Well, one of the reasons that you emailed us, you gave us a pitch. You said, "I want to come on the show. I want to be a guest." You told us how diverse you would make us. And one thing you said is a different theological perspective. And I was like, wait a minute. If we do this, we will have 3 different pairs of the same university. Because then we'll have 2 that went to Asbury Seminary, 2 that went to Taylor University, and 2 that went to Southeastern Baptist. So I think that it doesn't really differentiate us that much. But you've had a lot of different experiences. And so we would love to just hear some of your story. On this email, you told us that you grew up Catholic, you became an atheist, and you didn't become a Christian until college. You said that you went to Asbury Seminary, met David, worked in rural United Methodist Church as a youth pastor, joined the Christian Missionary Alliance in Kentucky, and right now you're currently getting ordained as an associate pastor in a non-denominational church out in the Texas Panhandle. So That's a lot of different experiences, man. That's a lot of
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
churches,
Yeah.
denominations, backgrounds.
Yeah, so like long story short, my mom comes from a big family and my great grandparents like Roman Catholic. Like the oldest of their kids, my great aunt and my uncle, they went to a Latin speaking Catholic
Oh.
church, like Roman Catholic church.
Oh,
Like my aunt still
snap.
goes there. My
Mm.
my uncle passed away, but my great aunt still goes there, and they had my great grandparents' funerals. We had Latin services, like Roman Catholic Latin services for them, which
Yeah.
I'm not. I
Well,
don't
God
believe in that,
only
but-
speaks Latin.
Yeah, exactly. And we, just as God only speaks Arabic if you're Muslim, right? But like,
Yeah.
we also had like, but all of us on the Protestant side of the family had like a celebration of life service, air quotes, before or after those services, just for the,
Yeah.
because we like, even like the Christian side of that family is like very like diverse, but. So like my mom like wanted me to go through catechism and like go to church when we moved. We were a military family, so we were in South Carolina, and we went to a contemporary Catholic service. Like we had like like traditional like aspects a lot of times, especially around the big holidays. But like usually like our actual Sunday services were kind of like different. Like my dad played drums there. Like it's just like I don't know what kind of Catholic church this was.
Interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, so like I went through catechism and then I was able to take communion, like got my like christening or whatever when I was like 8. And so I loved growing up in the Catholic tradition. Like I loved there's like the beauty of the liturgical side of the faith. Like it's ancient. It's like, stuff that the church has been doing for a long time. And like I loved those things that were like kind of like the foundation of like our like faith practices, like that so many of all our denominations and even our non-denom churches, like that's kind of like going back to the beginning, like those are some foundational parts of our faith as Christians. But essentially we moved to El Paso when I was like 10, El Paso, Texas. And then we just didn't go to church ever again. Like, and I loved God. Like I prayed before I went to bed and stuff, but my parents just like, we just didn't do it. It just didn't become a part of our life after we moved. And my dad retired and I went into high school and kind of honestly just kind of went astray. Like, I was just having a rough time in middle school. So I kind of just didn't believe God was good because like bad things would happen to me and stuff. And then I kind of stumbled into Islam. So I practiced like Islam. Like I kind of did all the research myself and just kind of like practiced it on my own for less than a year. I don't really honestly remember exactly how long, but it was less than a year. And then
did you learn any Arabic?
I tried. Like it was like also like it was the internet in 2009 or 10, so it still wasn't like as like full of information as it is in 2024. But like I practiced Islam for a bit, and then I kind of met a guy that was like in the New Age and like Buddhism and stuff, and so I started practicing that and dabbling in that, and then eventually I was just like, like God may or may not be real, and then eventually it's turned to full on atheism. But I had that golden rule of life standard of like, just treat people nicely and stuff, like like don't mess with me, I won't mess with you, kind of thing. But long story short, got to college, and I kid you not, like I tell people this all the time, I didn't know what a pastor was. Like, had no idea. I knew what a father was, like a priest, but like I didn't know what a pastor was. Like I went to my college ministry because they had like an event to kind of like outreach to students, and I saw who would be my future college pastor. I was like, who's this guy? Is he like a hype man for the university? Because like our college ministry was on the like kind of next right on the campus, like right next door. So like it looked like it belonged on campus. So I just thought this was like some event by the school. Like, who is this guy? And then like people were inviting me to Bible studies, and I was dating this girl who's like, I'll only date you if you go to Bible study with me and read the Bible. I was like, okay,
that's always good.
Missionary dating.
But, flirt to convert, right? But honestly, it's like I don't condone that, and I also don't condone like letting non-believers play on your worship teams. But those are two things that got me saved. So like, it worked, I guess. Because
wow,
you're like not best practice, but
yeah,
if it works, it works.
Yeah, and I started reading the scriptures, and like I really started believing them for myself. Like when I read about Jesus saying that you just like destroy this temple, and in 3 days I'll rebuild it, I'll resurrect it, right? And they're like, there's no way. And then like John cuts to like, but he was talking about himself. And I remember like I was like, whoa, that is hardcore. But I was like, if that is Jesus, I believe in that. Like, and that was what
Wow.
I like. That was my moment. I would say kind of my moment of conversion. I didn't realize like there was like what I needed to do to accept Jesus yet. Like that kind of came down later. But my best friend, led me to Christ in the back of my Honda Civic, or not the back. That sounds weird. The front of my Honda Civic. But, he led me to Christ in my Honda Civic, and he's like, "Hey, you should sign up for leadership at this student ministry." I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, sign up for leadership." I was like, "Okay." And
I became a Christian
signed
right
up.
now.
Yeah, well, I didn't realize I've been going to this college ministry's Bible studies, and I have been going to the same church a lot of these people went to. So I kind of already met the criteria to join the leadership team, but I didn't know that. And then I kind of just dove right into ministry. Like within a month, they asked me to be a co-leader of a Bible study, and I literally had my first Bible study ever, like 5 months earlier. Never had opened a Bible. I didn't know what it meant to say open Luke 17 or Luke 15. I was like, "What do you mean? Like, what does that mean?" Oh, like
there's more than one Luke.
15 Luke
chapter of Luke. Like I was like, I didn't know those things, and so
Yeah.
I always share that because I say, you don't know what people you're leading in ministry don't know. Like you don't know what they don't know. Like never just assume like, oh, everyone's heard the story of David and Goliath. Maybe they haven't. Like I didn't know this story or context of David and Goliath, till I was 19. So I always think that's just an encouragement to people in ministry, since it's a ministry podcast. Like, just assume people don't know those stories. They don't know those church songs you grow up singing. Like, because I didn't know those songs. I still don't. But yeah, like, and then so long story short, felt a call to ministry within a month of becoming a Christian. So I changed my major. I was a music major. I changed to communications. And then my mentor at the time, and now one of my best friends, Kendall McKee, was like, "Hey, you should go to seminary." I was like, "What is that?" I have no idea what that is.
Yeah.
He's like, "It's just like grad school." And I didn't even know what grad school was yet.
Oh,
I comprehended that. He's like, "It's just like a higher level of education if you want to go into ministry." I was like, "Okay, cool." And I was going to a Methodist student ministry, but like probably the most charismatic Methodist student ministry in the nation. Like of all the Wesleys in the nation, ours was definitely the most spirit-filled. Not trying to flex, but and
we had miracles when we did.
Yeah, there you go. But like I was also going to a Methodist church. Then I became a youth pastor at a rural Methodist church in Stratford, Texas. And
you'd been a Christian 1 year? 1 year they hire you?
When I started ministry, at the Methodist church, I've been a Christian 2.5 years. Yeah.
Okay.
So crazy.
He's good.
I know.
He's
United Methodist.
Yeah, he's good
for a pastor.
Yes.
As usual.
Yeah. And so long story short though, I was kind of like, I want to experience not doing this. I went to seminary, and then like United Methodist like representatives would come from Texas from our districts. And like David alluded to this in a previous podcast, but you know how like there was like that numbers driven like ministry with the United Methodists. Like they're like, how many people are baptized? How many people are being licensed local pastors? Like, what are you getting from this seminary? And what are you getting from this college ministry? And so like these people would come and they'd be like, what do you feel like God's calling you on your life? And like, I wouldn't say I wanted to be a licensed local pastor in the United Methodist Church and get an MDiv. I'd be like, I don't know, man. I think I want to do like deaf ministry or this kind of ministry. And they'd be like, kind of like, you can see in the back of their brain, they're saying, this person isn't going to increase my numbers. So like, I'm going to tell them fit into this mold or like get lost kind of. And then I stumbled upon the Christian Missionary Alliance. So we moved to Kentucky because I started going to a church.
Thanks to the McKees.
Thanks to the McKees. And the Neils went there for a bit too. And we loved it and just fell in love with the Alliance. And long story short, 'cause I know this is getting lengthy, but COVID happened and God kind of changed, kind of put pause on our ministry plans. And then he was like, hey, I want you to move back to the panhandle of Texas. And I also felt strongly like, do not look for a ministry position. Like pursue your ordination with the Christian Missionary Alliance, but you were to stay hidden until like it is time. And I was like, okay, God, that makes no sense. But I also was like, I don't want to play the game of church. Like, there's a ministry hustle that is prevalent in the church right now. And it's like, I don't want to play the game. I want to pursue Jesus. So like, God, like you're going to provide the opportunity. Like, I'm not going to need to put myself out there because I'm going to be like, when it's time, like you'll find me through whoever you need to. And that's how I got connected with this non-denom church that I'm now been working with for about almost 3 months now.
Oh, cool.
Wow. Okay. So
wait, I want to know more about
that.
Oh, sorry. I want to know more about
Yeah,
the church right now.
Yeah, so like long story short, this was a long time ago in the 90s, early 2000s. It was a Baptist church that did the famous rebrand to Summit Church. So like,
Yes.
I saw David's video.
Yes.
That cracked me up because it's like the most vanilla name change. And I mean, long story short, we've had that name for a long time and had a few different pastors have stepped in. And long story short, my current pastor just became pastor this past Easter. And he approached me to step on staff. He's like, "Hey, I'm taking over this church, and I really feel like you're the only person the Lord's told me to talk to. And I really feel like I don't know if this resonates with you. Like, no worries if it doesn't." And like, he's like, "Pray about it." And so I prayed. We met a bunch of times, and like, you know, I had ironically been talking with my Christian Missionary Alliance district superintendent about basically like, "Hey, like, I don't have anyone in this area that like is going in the same direction as me in ministry right now, and like we're just having trouble like really like finding community and stuff because there's no alliance presence here." And he's like, "We're just gonna pray for the right people to connect with you and meet." And then literally that next week,
Wow.
I get a text from my now pastor Connor that's just like, "Hey man, like want to meet up?" And so the church is interesting. We call it maybe like Baptist Costal, you know, like. Pretty spirit filled. We're really just approaching that orthodoxy though, you know, like going back to the old way. The old way is the new way, right? Like we've just, you know, we've made church, like the church used to be that kind of very hustle cultural church, like, you know, this plus this equals this result, like we'll grow and be a big church or whatever. But like, now we're just really pursuing Jesus and like, you know, going back to the scriptures, the foundation, you know, the scriptures, communion, fellowship, like the Acts 2:42 kind of community. Which has just been super cool and encouraging. And I love our staff. It's very diverse. Like I come from a Methodist and Alliance background. Pastor comes from a Pentecostal background. Another gal, she comes from a Church of Christ background. We have a Baptist background and our youth pastor. But then like he had a crazy thing where he went to a Pentecostal church. This guy's like, "You're called to ministry." He's like, and he kind of felt like he was. It was like he came out of nowhere. Long story, but. So it's cool. We have like we have diversity in our church staff too of like traditions and stuff too. So it's been cool. Like it's been really interesting seeing what God's doing there.
That is cool. So you kind of had this moment of I want to remain hidden. I'm not going to go pursue a ministry position, and then a pastor pursues you about a ministry position. About how long was that time in between?
I would say almost exactly a year. Yeah, because it was like March, and I remember I received my reaffirming of my call of ministry at the Asbury Outpouring in 2023 in February. Moved to Texas in March, and then just waited a year, and a year later is when I was approached again about that.
Wow.
So,
what kind of work did you do in the meantime? If you've been a pastor, Texas, been in ministry all this time, you had that free time. What do you do?
When I came back, we didn't know what we were going to do for church, so I started going back to my now Global Methodist Church that I kind of started at when I was a Christian. Because my pastor Rick Enns is just an amazing man of God and just like was really a big influence in my life. And now he's actually over the Global Methodist District in this part of Texas, the High Plains District, I think is what it's called, but. Went there and I got into my Bible study, had an irrigation and landscaping business. So I did irrigation for a bit and then like sprinkler systems and homes. And then I went back into the coffee industry. I spent a lot of time in the specialty coffee industry and worked in probably the most like left-leaning like group of people in our like city. Like it's very like swing the opposite way because we're in such a conservative
in West Texas.
Yeah. And so I worked there and went on full time actually. And I did like I was a full time like espresso machine technician and also I was doing like retail packaging for like coffee beans because we shipped all over and stuff like that. So.
And you got some.
Were you at there? Were you at like a roastery? Like where did you?
I was eventually at the roastery, but I started out at the Canyon shop, like the original shop, which is where I met my now pastor. Like we met because he goes there every morning for like discipleship meetings and like having his scripture studies.
And you started a socialist Instagram
page. Social-ish, but yeah, I did that.
I remember when you made that distinction. It's like people are like, I'm not social.
Yeah, it was a poor planning on my part, but.
But yeah, he makes funny coffee related memes and humor.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
check it out.
Man, that's really interesting because all 4 of us on this call had calls to ministry young. We all immediately got thrust into positions of leadership because there's great need. And then we all had time when we had to step back and do something else.
Yes.
funny.
Yeah.
And work in secular quote unquote job because just to refine and recall and re-understand what is it that God is calling me to do.
Yeah.
And I know David had that season of what kind of jobs did you do, David?
Yeah. Bike mechanic, barista, managed a co-working office.
Oh yeah.
That was a weird time. Worked at a school, and then in seminary, paid my way by shoveling manure. So, pretty big deal.
That's a lesson there.
Yeah.
I slung shoes for like 2 years just in the mall, man. It was great.
And I'm working front desk at the YMCA saying, hello, welcome in.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think
Well,
it's so interesting. You said, Sam?
I was just and I think we've all emerged, just Trey, I don't know you at all, but just what you're saying, like we've all emerged with this like anti-Christian hustle culture, to use your language, or like I know the folks at the Holy Post have coined like the evangelical industrial complex type thing, but just like that pipeline of like taking people and just putting them on stage or like into positions of leadership like fast without there being that space of like refining and like introspection and molding.
Absolutely.
And like and not to say like, and I'm not like trying to speak ill of it, like people in my life that gave me those opportunities, like nothing like that, but just I think hustle culture is a really good, that's like a good term, because that is what it feels like when you step back, is like, yeah, everything feels like a startup. Like when churches feel like a startup, it is like, we got to move fast and break things, as Mike Zuckerberg would say. It's just like, let's go, let's do it. Let's make it happen. Let's go. So yeah, it is pretty neat that we've all kind of had those seasons. Everybody on this call has, and all kind of emerged with like, don't go too fast, like slow down. And it's not worth your soul to like rush into this. It's like, it's worth your, like, it's actually what you were saying, Trey, like taking this space to be like, what is God actually calling me to? And not just saying yes to the next church job.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, my church planting class was saying like, why plant a church at 23 if you're going to burn out by 30? Like, that's not the point of this.
Yeah.
And he's like, if we're going to call people elders, then I think they should be a little elder. And it's good to have that time to have some growth to maturity. And so they just kind of encourage like, okay, you want to plant a church someday? You're in your 20s. Spend some time, join a healthy church, and grow up. Like, do ministry in obscurity, share the gospel, make disciples, not because it's your job, but just because that's what you believe in and is what you feel called to do, whether you get paid to do it or not. So it's pretty interesting to hear you share that, because it just brings out this theme that the rest of us have experienced recently.
We're all failures.
Yeah,
that's the point. That's the
and
gospel,
that's all,
right?
folks.
Wait, who else has had to go move in with their parents? Anyone else?
my in-laws.
Yep. All right. Yep.
When we moved back here, we lived in my mom's basement for a second.
Yep.
Yeah. Totally.
All right. I feel better.
Yeah.
And I moved back onto a seminary campus all by myself, starting fresh. Had no idea what I'm doing.
Oh,
but yeah, Trey, I just really like what you shared just about your background and all the different churches you've been a part of, and even just the church that you're on now, with the different the staff having different backgrounds. I feel like that's pretty unusual.
yeah,
And
definitely.
it brings us to an email that maybe you can help us out with.
wait, is this? Are we switching to a mailbag episode?
Yeah, so we started with how do you do, but now we need our mailbag intro. You have that one, Sam?
I
Sam's
don't.
head's in
Go
his
ahead,
hand.
Sam. Go ahead,
I
Sam.
legit don't.
No,
I
you're
don't
fine.
like
Go
the
ahead.
chat.
Go ahead.
I
Don't be embarrassed. You're fine.
I can't do it. It's literally not.
Sam, you're being too humble. We know you're the maestro.
Not,
okay. False humility
from a
doesn't
production
look good.
standpoint, it's not possible. I guess I could insert it post. Whatever.
Welcome to
Here goes
Staircase to Nowhere special mailbag episode.
If you're hearing the music,
with
it's because I put it
Trey.
in later. Yeah.
We did not know how to answer this question. That's the only reason we brought Trey on, because the three of us could not figure out how to answer this. So
We tricked him.
We need your expert opinion.
Noah, you
All
want to read the mail?
Yes. All right. It's mail from TJL. TJ
I
went
know
to
him.
Taylor with me and David. And he
Woo!
said, "Howdy, Stair Boys.
That's our name.
First priority, LTB. Love the Brotherhood.
Love
Third
the
floor of
Brotherhood.
St. Memorial's Hall, where David currently lives."
I don't live on the third floor.
No. He said, "Secondly, I would love to hear you all talk some more about ecumenicalism." Okay. Y'all are living proof that it is possible to work alongside and enjoy community with people that hold theological differences. And again, me, Sam, David,
Aw.
slight. It's very slight. Okay.
Very generous, but thank you.
Yeah, generous to say we hold theological differences. All right. At what point should you draw the line of how, what, who you're willing to work with in regards to ministry? From TJ, Soli Deo Gloria. Wow.
Let's go.
Wow.
So TJ's currently a
I'm-
missionary with the IMB. That's the Southern Baptist Missions Agency.
Oh my! The
And he-
Southern Baptist better start paying us for these episodes.
This episode is brought to you by the Southern Baptist Convention.
Jeez Louise! For someone trying to get ordained in the Global Methodist Church, this does not look good for me.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, he's a missionary somewhere in Europe. We can't say where for security reasons, or more just because I don't know. But
You're making it so dramatic.
It's not the first thing.
No.
Oh my goodness!
All right. So yeah, we just wanted to bring you on, Trey, and help just kind of think through this question. Ecumenicalism, of course, is like churches working together across denominational lines. And so how do you think of that? Like, how have you thought about who can you partner with as you've been in, like, thinking about church or ministry or being ordained as a pastor? Like, how do you think through this?
Yeah, so like for me, it gets tough because, I've had people that are like, you can't work with other people. Like, it won't work. Like, you'll have differences of opinions on this, that, and the other. Like, so many things. And, like, I feel like there's the primary doctrine and then there's secondary doctrine. Like, not to say that the secondary doctrine is unimportant, but, like, there's things that I think are, like, they're secondary doctrine and they don't really affect, like they can, but they shouldn't really affect, like, how we work together and, like, how we are the body of Christ. Like when I look at, like, Ephesians 4 and I look at the unity of the church that Paul is talking about, like what our goal as a church is to be, through the fivefold ministry, reaching the fullness to the full stature of Christ, like reaching what his fullness is. And we can't do that if we're going in different directions so much that we're not, like, going together. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I think of things like that. And I think, like, the scriptures are very, like, Jesus before going to the cross, in the Garden of Gethsemane is saying, Father, make them one in each other in love as you and I, as the Father and I are one, Lord. Like, that is, like, so intimate. That's such a serious, like, oneness. Like, like, I don't really honestly think we can be that oneness, obviously, in this lifetime, because that's just perfection. Like, but to have the idea of, like, I am one with my brothers and sisters in this denomination, that church, like, because, like, we have a oneness that the Father desires for us. Like, I love them and I have so much, like, goodwill for them and for their ministries.
Yeah.
But then there's things that are, like, I think are primary doctrine that are very important, and, like, we have to, like, there is a point where it has to, because then you get to, like, why they had these issues in the first place in the beginning of the church, like all these heresies that would pop up where things are like, well, what do you mean God's not fully divine? Like, he is fully divine and he is fully man. Like, Jesus is fully man, fully God. Like, when you start to separate that, like that's a big theological, like, whoa, like that does a lot of, that's a big thread in theology that untangles a lot of stuff, right? Like,
Yeah.
so like I understand why like the global and the United Methodist split, like, you know, a lot of people put on the surface of just being these you know, things around like sexual orientation and like their participation in ministry. But really, when you look at a lot of the conversations that were had and the doctrine that was instilled by the United Methodists, like not trying to bash anybody, but like when you look at a lot of the doctrine that was instilled and passed, like there's a lot of things that I question, is this Christianity anymore? Is this Christ Church anymore?
Oh,
like,
wow.
and I know that's harsh, but it's like, you know, what did God say? Jesus said so many times, like, there will be a separation of the wheat and tares. Like, there's going to be a fine line and a definitive, like, this is my church, this is not my church. You know, like a separation of the two. And like, that's really intense. But like, and then when I think of that too, I also think, well, it doesn't say that he's going to have a Baptist bundle of wheats and a Methodist bundle of wheats and an Alliance bundle of wheats and non-denom. No, there's just going to be a separation of the wheat and tares. And it's like, so like,
Well, that's where we differ there, buddy. Just kidding.
exactly. But like,
yeah.
like if heaven's going to be this diverse place, it's like, you know, surely we can find ways to work together. And like, that's why I've really liked the Alliance, is like, the Alliance wasn't really like, when I was in college and in college ministry, like there was a lot of like, don't go work with that ministry. Like, don't go with the Baptist ministry because they have more Calvinist like views and we're more like, you know, Wesleyan, like, because they believe in predestination. Like, you can't, like, don't hang out with them too much because you're going to start thinking things they think and this going to corrupt your whole faith. Like, I was like, what? Like,
yeah.
Like,
Those Christians are bad.
But then I moved to Kentucky and like I just like started interacting with so many people of different denominations. Like, I had some really great friendships with people that like I wouldn't have been friends with in college because of that. But then I was like, I love these people and they're awesome and they make me love Jesus more. And like, that's what I want. It's like, I want to be pushed towards Jesus more.
Yeah.
And so like, you know, it's realizing like seeing one thing and experiencing another thing and realizing like, man, like it's Christ's intention for us to be united and to be one. Like, but there is the things that matter. I really like, I have this written at the front of my journal actually, because when I moved to Texas, like I was like, I'm gonna start journaling just whatever God's doing in my life. And I knew I was gonna have to work with people not in my theological like realm and spectrum and like, you know, context, because like out here in the Bible Belt, it's very separate. Like the Baptist church and Methodist church and every small Texas town are literally across the street from each other. And they're literally so like, quote unquote, divided, right? But this is something A.B. Simpson said about the founding of when he was about people in the Christian Missionary Alliance. Like, it's alliance, which was originally formed for multiple like churches to work together regardless of the denomination. Like, it was originally just literally an alliance of churches that had a calling and desire to see the world know Jesus. But he said the CNMA is a family of believers who share in common the fullness of Jesus and his present grace and coming glory. The CMA is not intended to be a sectarian in a way that would divide it from the broader body of evangelical churches. Rather, it is the intent of the CMA to fellowship and partner with all Christian churches and denominations who, like us, cling to, and he quotes Jude 3, the faith that once for all entrusted to the saints. So like, and they kind of break that down. Like, if you go look up their like doctrine of like specific like areas that are like, hey, like if there's a place where you have to divide a line, like this is it right here. Like, you know, the divinity of Christ, the trueness of the word of God, like stuff like that, pretty much in a nutshell. But
yeah.
It's good.
But so,
That's
yeah,
good.
I don't know. Like, I just think like,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes I think we kind of know, but it's just like, if we just look at every other believer that's not in our church or denomination as like not a part of us, it's like, well, if we're the body of Christ, like what good does it do if the arm is against the leg? Like, you know, if we're not working together to just do what God called us to raise disciples and baptize them in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and to proclaim the goodness of God to the world, the glory, the gospel to the world. Like, that's just why it gets me fired up. So it's like, when I moved back, our intentionality was like, I want to be a person that bridges the gaps. Like, I want to like connect with people rather than divide myself from people. Like, we're hoping to start having people at our home, for example, that are like different, like, you know, church backgrounds and like belong to different denominations, but we're all going to come together and just like be in community and like gather around the goodness of God. And our church has also just started we're starting a prayer room that will have like 3 weekly prayer meetings, 4 days a week. So like morning, noon, and night on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And we've invited like the Methodist church in our town is participating, and another non-denom. And then I've just been talking to other people in our town about it. And there's a lot of excitement because people are like, man, like I just feel like we in this season need to be together and not so separate. So like I don't know, we're just seeing what God's doing. I'm just really excited about it. But that's super important to me, is that like seeking unity.
Yeah, and I like what you were. I mean, all that's great. I want to highlight what you were talking about, like the experiential component of like working with other folks. And I very much grew up in a culture where I was told not to work with other folks. Like, don't go talk to those people because they are, you know, they're different than us. And insert your Baptist, Methodist, Catholic, Presbyterian, like insert, you know, the other group. And kind of what in my own life and experience, yeah, like if you have been taught that, echoing what Trey was saying, like definitely invite you to actually go and like experience life with the people that you were told like will corrupt you in the faith, you know, like go have lunch with the Methodist pastor and see how much you guys actually may have in common, or the Baptist pastor or whatever. And yeah, I just want to highlight that if you did grow up in a culture where like, oh, this group of believers is really like is dangerous for XYZ reason, like it's definitely worth dialoguing in real life with those folks instead of just being like, yeah, creating that otherness. Because there's no, like, in my opinion, there is no reason that the Baptist church and the Methodist church should be against each other. You know, like there should be this, we should have this commonality. Yeah, we do come to different theological conclusions that maybe would be better for us to have like different, you know, church organizations, whatever, talk about that. But like, we do have the shared mission. Like we can agree that we're moving in the same direction. And to the question in the email, I think there's just different categories, right? Like there's people I would serve the poor with that I wouldn't plant a church with, you know, like there's folks that I would definitely, I'm like, yeah, we should definitely serve our city in this way. But because we don't align, you know, theologically on these, you know, these reasons, it probably wouldn't be good for us to lead a covenant community of Christ followers together and be like, you know what I mean? So I think that understanding those categories and you have to figure those out and go like, okay, I should be open to serving the poor. I'm just using that example, but like serving the poor with anybody that professes like the faith at all. You know what I mean? Like in my opinion, like if you are like, yeah, we should be willing to do outreach and that level stuff. But, you know, it wouldn't make sense for me theologically to try to plant a church with a Catholic friend of mine. Like that wouldn't go well. You know what I mean? Because of those different theological differences. So just owning that, like, even if we don't agree on everything, that doesn't mean we can't do anything, you know? And just, I love that model that you were, or that idea that you guys were, your church is presenting, Trey, of like, okay, we do have our differences, but we can all agree that we should be praying. So why don't we open our space and like, let's pray. And we can at least meet there. And if we, go ahead.
I'll just say, and it's like the thing of like, you know, maybe we have different theological views on communion. So like, even if we can't literally break bread together in that way, we can still share a meal together and just like praise God on what he's doing at your church. Praise God what he's doing in my church. You know, like it's like we can find a way. Like we act like we're just so alien from each other because we have like a secondary doctrine differential, you know, to each other.
And you were hitting on it. I think like, well, I don't know. I know other people say this too, but the Nicene Creed is usually one of those things that folks look to as like, if you don't believe this stuff, you're probably swimming in some really different you're in some really different theological waters than we are. So that's a pretty good standard test. And I mean, I don't like, if I'm doing outreach with somebody, I'm not like, do you believe that, and go through the whole creed. But just as you're parsing through as a church leader, like, how do I partner? What does it look like to partner? That's like the very base level of like, yeah, we can partner with other like-minded Christian organizations on base levels because we all profess this. I was sharing the story before the call, just as a funny one, because Noah, you could probably speak to how this stuff doesn't go well. Like, we have, sometimes it's hard. But when I was in Mississippi, there was a group of a lot, like every denomination I think was represented. Every denomination in the town was represented at this meeting. And the pastors were just trying to put together like a revival service, like just let's all, like, they were like, we can all come together and do some sort of worship and preaching night, like, because we're all about it. And we like literally could not decide on where to do it. Like, somebody's like, we should do it at the football field. So we're like, no, we should do it at the park. It's like, well, we could use our church building. And it's like, well, if we use your church building, and it just like, blah, 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 blah. It like it never turned into anything. So it's just, it can be hard. Like, I'm not like, even with all the best intentions, like we're still people. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'll just not stop rambling. I just want to drop that anecdote because it's funny. Because yeah, it can be really hard when the rubber hits the road.
Yeah, it is hard, but it's so worth it. There's a Tim Keller quote where he's talking about how to reach cities, and he says it requires citywide movements of the gospel. And he just reminds pastors, like, your church is not enough to reach your whole city. It's going to take all the churches in your city working together in order to reach your city. And this mindset that our church should be a one-stop shop is just not helpful and puts too much pressure on you. And so seeing ways that we can partner together, and Trey, you're right, prayer is the great way to start. I saw when I lived in South Florida, there was a group of pastors that prayed together. And it was pastors they were mainly Spanish-speaking pastors, mainly Pentecostal backgrounds, but just different denominations coming together, solo pastors all by themselves who got people to pray with once a week. And it was wonderful. And just to see them encourage one another, even through different backgrounds. So, Trey, we know we need to let you go. Man, we just so appreciate every nugget you dropped on us, sharing your story and just sharing just what it means to work together with people of different backgrounds, what it means to wait in obscurity, to trust in God's call.
Can I share one more thing?
Do it.
Please.
I was just like, something I was thinking of as we were talking about, like, I also see the encouragement of like how we can work together interdenominationally. Like, I was talking with I was at an Alliance conference last month, and they had been contacted, I think, by the Global Methodists about like, hey, like, how do you prepare missionaries for the mission field? Like, what does it look like? Like, like, talk to us about like what you've built, And the Alliance has been sending missionaries around the world since 1890s. So like, that's like in our DNA. And they're like, they kind of gave them the rundown. They're like, cool, actually, can we just send people to you to be sent to be missionaries, like to be trained up to go to the mission field?
Wow.
Like, I hope to see more things like that, where like faith traditions work off of in churches, and individuals work off of their strengths and share their strengths with other members of the body to like it says in Ephesians chapter 4, like to grow the church to full stature together. Like, that's the way that Christ wants to see his church to full stature, and he wants to see the gospel go to all people before he returns. So it's like, if we gotta make that happen, just like you were saying, like, we can't do it on ourselves. Like, we have to do it with the body. So I just want to share that because that's what gets me really excited and really pumped up.
And just to tie it in, like that's the opposite of hustle culture, right? In the church is that the church that we're planting isn't the solution to all the problems. Cause that is like, if you view yourself and your church and your ministry as the thing that's going to solve it for the city, then that you kind of by default, if we're just going to talk from like a business standpoint, you've got to box out competition. You've got to you've got to figure out how to be the solution for the outreach needs and the discipleship needs and all the things. So people come to your church to get bigger, to do the thing. And, just like that willingness to say, we're not our little corner of the city isn't the thing that's going to fix it all. We need to lean on each
Yeah.
other is really kind of a tie into what we were talking about at the beginning, just through our stories, like that not being just that disillusionment with church hustle culture of like trying to build this big church empire that solves the problems of everything. It's like, no, trust that Jesus will solve the problems, will solve all problems. And he will do that through like the hands and
All
feet
our
of people,
local
just
churches.
like, through our local churches doing local things.
It's like death to self. Like, it's like we put ourselves in a vulnerable place to say, oh, we can't do this by ourselves. Like, we're humble enough to admit, like, we need our brothers and sisters in Christ to lift us up as we lift them up. Like, it's like the opposite of the hustle culture of being like, hey, like, our church isn't the best. It doesn't have it all together. It's not perfect. And like, that's the beauty of the church. None of us are perfect. But together we get to be the body of Christ, and that is perfect. And so just going from there.
That's the clip. That's the clip we need.
That's the clip.
Baby.
As we try to build our own
The staircase to nowhere empire.
Empire. Yes.
Is there anything? Since we're an empire, anything with our vast audience you want to plug for yourself? Your book coming
you're a
out.
professional podcaster.
I don't.
Oh yeah.
I haven't recorded a podcast in a while for either of my shows. But honestly, I've just been more focused on just ministry right now, like what God's doing, and trying to be a good steward of that. So if you want to connect with me, I guess I'm on Instagram. That's like where I like to connect the most. It's Trecal, Trecal. That's it. And yeah, like, I don't know,
Beautiful.
like I said, I like to connect with everybody. So like, I want to connect with you regardless of what your denomination or church background is. Like, I just want to encourage you, you encourage me, and just see what God's doing in your context, in your area. And if you're a missionary, I definitely love to be on your email list. I love to keep up with your missions and what you're doing. Like, that's a big passion of mine as well. I support a bunch of missionaries most I can, or at least like I subscribe to their emails of different missionaries in different sending organizations, denominations. I'm just supporting the mission field. Like, I love it. And that's a big passion of mine, is to connect people here in the Panhandle to the mission field as well. So
You heard that, missionaries. Trey's a big giver. Send him your support letter.
if I win the lottery, man, I'm gonna support a lot of missionaries. It's gonna be awesome.
That's so funny. We will be sponsoring the next 5 missionaries who call this number. Like,
yes.
Whoa. Yeah. No,
Unless
seriously,
you're
Trey,
the
thank you
Southern
so
Baptist.
much for.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just kidding.
There it is.
Gotcha.
I was trying to say thank you for coming on the yeah.
Just
No,
kidding.
thank you. Thank you for
I
that.
love my Southern Baptist.
Thank
You just
for
lost
that.
our
Thank you.
SBC funding.
No, I love my SBC friends. I mean
we
that,
did.
dude.
Awesome.
Oh, love this.
Thanks for coming
Trey.
on the show.
Thanks for being on.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It's an honor. I love the show, and I can't wait to cut my grass while I'm listening to this. So it'll be great.
Yes. Keep being a blessing,
it.
bro. All the best in the ordination process
Likewise,
and
y'all.
serving your church.
Thank you. Thanks for having such a
Signing
great
off.
show, man. I love it.
We do our best. Hopefully that's enough.